Another year of craftable weapons means another video on the top weapons that you should be hunting down before they all probably go away when the final shape releases. We are still several months away from the expansion, but with the last season in the expansion cycle being out and likely no other craftable weapons on the horizon, earlier is better so that you actually have the time to go grind these weapon patterns. This is also your reminder to go buy all of the season armor across all your characters so that you can unlock them as ornaments for fashion later if you want. You have more than enough time to get every single weapons pattern from every season. Part of this diligence is literally just gonna be buying free red borders from each vendor every week, assuming you have some engrams left over. But ideally, you should be trying to get as many of the patterns as possible. If not the pattern, a god roll will also work. I am also not liable for any weapons not mentioned here that become meta in the Final Shape era, although given the power creep we have experienced with weapons, it would surprise me quite a lot if I didn't mention something here and it became meta a whole lot later. Season 20 weapons, Defiance weapons. We actually have a pretty good selection, but I think my stone cold lock of the century of the season is Regnant. Grenade launchers haven't quite become the top tier option, but there is always a world where they could be, especially with their recent reserves buffs. Autoloading or Envious Assassin with Explosive Light are the roles you're going to be hunting down, both being good for different scenarios. Royal Executioner can roll with Envious Assassin and Reservoir Burst. You're only going to be able to get so many bonus damage shots with that, but it's still viable outside of non-boss encounters. Prodigal Return can also get some interesting rolls, but considering I've seen literally zero use of this gun from anyone, and Season of the Wish just came out with an arc wave frame that drops from Nightfalls, I don't anticipate any hype for this weapon. Perpetualis is simply a weaker version of Rufus's Fury from Root of Nightmares, which is a weaker version of Quicksilver Storm, and if I need to use a strand auto rifle, I'm doing everything that I can to use Quicksilver in the PvE world. Raconteur is the only stasis crafted bow, so that's the main reason to get it, but I have barely used it, so it's only really needed if you really want a stasis bow. Caretaker is a solar sword that can roll with incandescent. If that's something you desire, then get it. If not, it's whatever. Finally, the class swords are okay. The Titan one is pretty fun, but these will be very expensive in engrams to hunt down, and I'm not really sure that's going to be worth your while. Imperial Decree, the shotgun, is okay for PvP purposes and some shotgun hot swapping stuff in PvE, but nothing I think you need to really stress about. I would say Regnant is definitely worth getting the pattern for. Royal Executioner is close to worth it, and pretty much everything else should be on the back burner. Season 21 weapons, Season of the Deep. I'ma keep it real. I don't think there is anything in this roster that you actually need to go hunt down pattern-wise unless you are really into build crafting or really want something specific. Rapacious Appetite is more of a PvP weapon, but you can just farm the Crucible SMG Unending Tempest, which is really good. If you want Headstone, then sure, Rapacious, it's an option for stasis users, but otherwise, I basically haven't seen any of this stuff get used in any meaningful way in PvE. I would prioritize getting these patterns last if you're a completionist, which is just unfortunate because they use the Taken glow effect on them, and it just feels wasted on these. Make this effect into a memento, please, Bungie. As for the Reckoning weapons, well, they're not craftable, so you need to burn engrams on these guns to get something rolling, which is fine because you're probably not going to burn engrams on the deep weapons. Bug Out Bag can be a good contender versus Callous Mini Tool. If you don't have a Callous Mini Tool, you're looking for Subsistence and Incandescent on that. Everything else is simply okay. I haven't really seen anyone using the new Spare Rations. Everyone's using an old one. I haven't really seen anyone using much of anything, really. There's some stuff with the Discord perk you can do on the shotgun, but, who really cares about that? Most of the rest of the weapons are skippable or replaceable. Season 22 weapons, Season of the Witch. The number one to go collect is the Eremite with Envious Assassin and Controlled Burst for any sort of sustained DPS needs. I've used this in Crota's End. It is a very good special weapon for damage. Is it better than Royal Executioner? Yes, because Controlled Burst lasts as long as you're hitting shots. That's not to say that Reservoir Burst is bad, because it's absolutely not. But for longer periods of sustained damage that is needed, I choose the Eremite. Royal Executioner, more of a run and gun weapon because of how Reservoir Burst works. Other than Eremite, I don't think there is any super high priority weapon here. Semiotician is the only craftable strand rocket, but its perk rolls aren't too insane compared to what we can get on other rockets, and its competition, Crowning Duologue, at least the version from last year, is worse than this, so maybe this year's will be better. Locus Locutus has some slight viability in Sniper World with Overflow and Firing Line. That's a maybe. Eleatic Principle is outclassed by Song of Your Ute from Crota's End. I would definitely try to get that to the point where I would be using Deep Sight Harmonizers on it. Bria's Love is just Avoid Scout. Kept Confidence is the only 140 RPM strand hand cannon. It feels good as a gun, sounds good, just haven't really seen it used that much in an ocean of really good hand cannons, both crafted and non-crafted. Finally, Season of the Wish, Season 23, has 10 weapons, and there are more high-priority weapons here than in the past 3 seasons combined. Doomed Petitioner is a top-tier damage weapon. It's a 3-burst linear fusion. We're going to scoop that up with Envious or Recon with Precision Instrument or Surrounded, depending on the content that you are playing. Scatter Signal is one of the best DPS fusion rifles in the kinetic slot, with it being able to get Overflow and Controlled Burst. It can also get Slice, which is more of a utility play. Sure, Nox Perennial can get a good roll too, but it's not craftable, so have fun farming that. Just go for Scatter Signal. A Penance, a Stasis Trace Rifle, can also get some very good rolls, but I know Trace Rifles aren't super mainstream, so I imagine people who are into Trace Rifles probably have scooped this up already. That being said, would I place this weapon higher than many other weapons from previous seasons? Absolutely I would. Scalar Potential is 100% a PvP pulse rifle, so if you're not into PvP, skip it. If you are, get it. If you don't have an Ikelos SMG, I would highly recommend hunting down the pattern for Subjunctive. I will be crafting and using it soon. There's a lot of people liking it over Ikelos because it can get a better first column perk in Stats for All. Some people like it because it's a 900 RPM. The point is, if you don't have an Ikelos, definitely go get this pattern. Make sure you're running Star-Crossed, which is the new exotic mission, because that's where really a lot of the weapons are dropping, the Undying weapons. Even if you do have an Ikelos, I would still go get Subjunctive anyway. I think most other things here are skippable, especially the rest of the Undying weapons. They're all pretty average or worse primary weapons, and the remainder in the Wish weapon category are considerably more niche picks. If I had a top 5 weapon list for PvE, it would be Doomed Petitioner, Scatter Signal, Subjunctive, the Eremite, Regnant. Almost basically in that order. If you're only going to have time to grind out 5 weapons, I think those 5 are very, very good and safe choices. But again, grinding weapon patterns has never been easier, and if you can get more, I would get more. The raids aren't going away, but a quick refresher for you in case you're hopping back into raids. Root of Nightmares, Briar's Contempt is probably the number 1 right now because of its ability to get surrounded, which can be good in certain boss encounters, but with Doomed Petitioner readily available without stepping foot into a raid at all, it would not shock me if people defaulted to that. Caraxus's Distress has also gotten some attention recently for some solo dungeon stuff, it also being able to get surrounded with reload perks like Reconstruction and Envious Assassin. Last Wish, your top 2 are Techian Force and Apex Predator. Techian Force can get Controlled Burst with Envious or Rewind rounds. Enough said there for fusion rifles. On the other hand, Apex Predator simply has too many what-ifs in terms of perk rolls that it can get, and with rockets still being top-tier damage weapons, it is certainly worth grabbing the pattern for it if you can farm it. Crota's End, my number 1 is Song of Your Ute, 450 RPM arc machine gun, the best arc machine gun in the game. While perk rolls are up for debate, this machine gun, being one of the best in the game, is not. Swordbreaker is maybe a second place, but I use it on my Strand Titan for 1-2 punch shotgun stuff, which is really, really specific. Crota weapons can all get really good rolls, but I've basically only seen Song of Your Ute getting mainstream use. Those are your top priority weapons to go get before Final Shape. You got plenty of time to farm and get patterns. Just remember to keep checking vendors once a week for those free red borders if you've been playing during the year. If you haven't, now is a great time to do all of the seasonal story content all at once. No waiting, no nothing, so get to it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next year.